So welcome to our April 10th session of our Core 101 session. This session is presented to you by Core Alberta, which is attached to Healthy Aging Alberta, and Core British Columbia, which is attached to United Way BC and Healthy Aging BC. We will be talking to you about the Core platform. So whether you're new or old hat on this platform, we're sure that you'll learn something new today. And we will be recording this session so that you can always catch up later as well if you need to rewatch a certain item. So in the spirit of our journey to promote reconciliation, we'd like to honor the truth of the shared history and acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today, and for those who have gone before us. And I am tuning in from Alberta, and specifically I'm tuning in from Mohkinstsis, which is Calgary, and that is on the Treaty 7 territories, and Métis Region 5 and 6. So I would like to acknowledge that I am a settler here on the lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy in Treaty 7 and Métis Region 5 and 6. So just some housekeeping before we get going here. If while we're presenting, please mute yourself. And if, of course, you're welcome to have your video on or off, that's up to you. You're welcome to put questions in the chat and we will address them later on in the session. Please add your reactions if you would like throughout. And there's most of you are familiar with Zoom now, so there's the chat option at the bottom of your page, though, if you are not familiar. And as I mentioned, the session will be recorded and we will upload it to the Core Alberta and the BC platforms. So after the event, we will share the link with you when it's up, so that if you want to rewatch it or share it with anybody else in your team, you are welcome to. We will also host this recording on our Core Learning Hub. So if later down the road you want to revisit any of our recordings, you can just go onto our Core Page Learning Hub, which we'll talk about to you today, since that's a new addition. So as I mentioned, I'm representing Healthy Aging Alberta. So Healthy Aging Alberta is a rich network of community-based senior serving organizations across Alberta. And we're united by a shared vision, which is to make Alberta one of the best places in the world to grow older. And together we can develop a coordinated community-based senior serving sector that is respected and integrated within the broader system of care and can empower, support, and inspire every older Albertan to age how they choose, ultimately improving the health and social outcomes. So together we're creating an infrastructure that connects us to increase our collective impact. And Core Alberta is championed by the Healthy Aging Alberta initiative. So our vision and approach: by building the network that connects the sector organizations, we'll have the ability to have a greater impact on the lives of all Albertans. So we are working on broader sector coordination and broader network weaving, the cross-sectoral collaboration on priority areas, and then services for older adults are therefore better resourced and enhanced. And if anybody is tuning in from the Alberta community-based senior serving sector, we will be having in-person regional gatherings here the next 2 months. So if you want to be having more of this, these network connections and collaborations, I will post about that later in the chat, but just so you know, we are doing some collaboration here in the next few months. All right. Laura, I believe this one's you.
Right. Hi, everyone. So then the other presenter for this webinar is Healthy Aging by United Way British Columbia. And so for United Way British Columbia, our Healthy Aging work has 5 pillars, which focuses on our Better at Home program, which provides non-medical, simple day-to-day supports to older adults, such as light housekeeping or transportation to appointments. We also have 7 other community-based senior services grants. We have initiatives to strengthen the community-based senior services sector in BC, and also for community engagement. So for example, we have our Provincial Summit on Aging that's going to be coming up this upcoming November. And then we also do work around research and knowledge mobilization. And of course, Healthy Aging Core BC fits within our work that we're doing to strengthen the sector and engage with community and share knowledge and resources. Then next slide. And we do have a very wide network of community-based senior services and healthy aging funded programs across the province. So we have 8 grant streams, which you can see on this map. And of course, for those of you who are from BC, you know that we're currently in the midst of redesign and rollout of our healthy aging program and service model. And so there's the rollout of the community connectors to increase social prescribing across the province, as well as work to form healthy aging community collaboratives and enhance Better at Home. So our provincial grant programs are evolving, and of course, things are going to look a little bit different from this in the future. But we're very excited for the work that we've done previously with the CBSS sector, and of course, what we have coming up ahead. All right, next slide. So today, of course, we're here to learn about the Healthy Aging Core platform. And so this is designed to be a provincially and also nationally coordinated learning platform to support the CBSS sector through information sharing, training, mentoring, communities of practice, policy development, resource development, and collaboration. And so there are the 3 different Healthy Aging Core platforms, and they are interlinked, and we work closely together with Core Alberta on how we do our Healthy Aging Core platforms, but then they're also all unique. So the content that you'll find on Healthy Aging Core BC versus Healthy Aging Core Alberta versus Healthy Aging Core Canada will differ and is tailored towards the region that it's serving. So it's beneficial if you're interested in the resources available in other regions or at a national level to be a member not only of, for example, Core Alberta and BC, but you also might want to consider looking at the national site as well. And I myself am a member of Core Alberta, BC, and national, because I find sometimes the stuff Alberta shares, even though I'm not living there, is still very useful. So you can find useful resources on all 3 of these different sites. And as mentioned previously, Healthy Aging Alberta and United Way Calgary and Area are the backbone for Healthy Aging Core Alberta, and then United Way British Columbia is the backbone for Healthy Aging Core BC and Healthy Aging Core Canada. Next slide. And so this is just some screenshots showing the 3 different websites that we have. And as you can see, they're all laid out and look quite similar. So the training that we provide today will be quite applicable for navigating all 3 of the websites. And next slide. And in terms of who should become a member of CORE, really the primary target is community-based senior services, staff and volunteers. But there's also a lot of information that is relevant and useful for example, allied systems partners, such as people working in healthcare or housing or municipal government. Anybody who's interested in being part of a provincial knowledge hub. And of course, you don't have to have a formal reason about why you want to join CORE. If you have an email, anybody is welcome to join. One thing I will note about CORE in terms of the target audience is that the information that we provided isn't targeted towards older adults or caregivers who are seeking services. So if you're looking for information about how you might access supports that you need, such as community programs, caregiver support groups, or other things like that, CORE probably isn't the proper place for that sort of information. And you might want to look at, for example, the 211 services in your community or your local community-based senior services. But our website doesn't contain that sort of information for people who are actually directly looking for services. All right, next slide. Okay, and so now we're going to visit the CORE platform and do a bit of a demonstration about the features.
Okay, So let me pop open the platform here and get back to sharing my page. Okay, so here is the core platform. As you note, so there's the similar interface between Core Alberta, Core BC, and Core National. And if you've been with us for a while, this is the second iteration of this platform. We used to have a different format. So some of you I know in the chat had mentioned you'd been with us longer than a year or two. So one of the big differences with the newer platform that rolled out last year was that you can actually toggle quite conveniently between the different platforms. So if I wanted to jump into Core BC or Core National, I just simply click at the toggle, and then I can jump into one of the other platforms. I will have to log into them separately, of course, if I want to post content or view a group. Those are the only items that are blocked off from to members only are group membership and posting content. But otherwise, as a general user, anybody can look at the content on the platform otherwise. And you can easily switch between the platforms you want it. As Laura mentioned, sometimes they'll have similar information and sometimes they'll have specific to that region. It really depends what content is being posted. So it is valuable to have a membership or look at the different platforms, because then you might have access to items that you didn't know were available. Also in the platform, we have up in the right toolbar, you can now switch languages. So if French is your first language, you can switch the platform to French. Right, there we go. And switch it back. Okay. Sorry. Also, what we have here is you have your notifications. So when you're part of a group, you might get notifications of what's been happening in your group, and it will let you know if new resources or new events have been added. You can mute those notifications as well. It will send them to your email. So you could change your notification settings if it gets overwhelming for you, but that helps keep you up to date. So you don't always have to be on the platform. There is a messaging option. So if you have started a conversation with somebody within the platform, you'll see them lined up here. I am on my general user profile, so I don't have any conversations in here, but you will see them listed if you've started a message. And then in here is your account. So when you go into your account, you'll see that it has the information that you provided, such as your email, where you're tuning in from, maybe your introduction. So you can change that at any time if you wanted to add your picture, if you want to change your password or your notifications. If you do switch organizations, you have the option to either just update your information and update your email. If you're still remaining in the community-based senior serving sector and you want to stay on the platform, just if you have your new email, you can switch up your platform. Otherwise, you can also delete your account and create a new account. So it's up to you how you would like to update that. Now, the home screen, the home kind of captures a bunch of the recent things that have been loaded into the site. So there's a little section for recent news articles, upcoming events that we have coming in the next few days. And of course, all of these are active, so you can click on any of them to be redirected to the post. Resources, groups, and this will take you to the group page. We have some hyperlinks to quick things here. This is where our core learning hub lives. I'll open that one here just in a moment. Any programs initiatives. So anybody can post their program or initiative in our programs area, and we'll show that to you. On each of the separate sites, we have a different about section where you can learn more about the three of us. And then we all have a newsletter option as well. So, and some additional hyperlinks here at the end to some of those pages that I just showed you. So within our newsletters, we each have a newsletter sign up. You will have to sign up for them individually if you would like to be on more than one newsletter list. We will talk a little bit more about them later. but just so you know, they're here. And on my newsletters on Alberta, I also post, hello, I post my last newsletters. So if you ever want to look at a previous issue of newsletters, I list them on my Core Alberta site. So you can look at the April 4th issue, and the hyperlink is there if you would like to do that. Now, I'm just going to jump back up to the Core Learning Hub. This is a brand new thing that we've just added, and we're still rolling it out across the different sites. Alberta is pretty functional right now, and we're just getting the Core BC and Core National platforms updated for this. But when you click on the Core Learning Hub, it has a bunch of our resources that Laura, Ravi, and myself have put together that can help educate you on the Core platform. So you'll be able to see our short informational video here that is just a quick 2-minute video talking about Core. We put our most recent session recording. So here was our February session that we linked here, and we promote our next Core training if anybody needs to know. So you can watch previous sessions, you can sign up for our newsletters, you can join Core groups, you can check out the other pages and join additional trainings. As well, we have some different reasons for what you can do on the platform or why you might want to use the platform. So there's a quick guide here. On my page, I have, if you have an idea for a Core hosted event, you can reach out to me about hosting an event. A little bit of information about groups and how those work. So that is currently how it looks. As we build out more resources, we're going to have some training manuals and some short little info videos as well in here too, so that if you need to resource at any time, if you need to reference this and you forget how to do something, you can jump back into this platform at any time to refresh your brain. Okay, so then groups. I'll go to the groups page. So all three platforms have groups. They have different groups as well. Some of the groups are very local. Most of my groups here are very local to Alberta. I do have one group that is Canada-wide. So I will pull them up because they are encouraging folks from across Canada to join us. So intergenerational linkages is my one group that is looking to build together a community of practice across Canada. They're also looking for core leaders, additional core leaders representing different provinces in this group. We currently have leaders running the group from Alberta and Nova Scotia, but we're looking for additional province representation if you're interested in intergenerational practices. Otherwise, the other groups on our pages are very specific to provincial interests or Canada-wide interests. And Laura can weigh in about some of the Canada-wide ones here in a moment. But when you come into the group page, you'll see that there is an option to join a group. So you will need a membership to join the group, but these groups are actively working on different topics and connecting on common themes. So if it has a button to join, those are any of the open groups, anybody can join them. For example, here I have joined this Immigrant Senior Sector Connection. So once you've joined a group, you'll see that it changes from join to leave. So when I go into my group that I'm in here, you'll see that you have an option there's the main feed of maybe content that's been posted, resources that are relevant to those themes. Any of the members can post. There's a description about what the group is about, maybe some of their featured resources that they've decided to feature, maybe some of their upcoming events. So the homepage kind of captures a bit of everything. Now, discussions offer an opportunity for you to start a discussion on a topic. If you click on an existing discussion, you'll see that there's option to add your own thoughts, just kind of like a Facebook group page. So they're really set up similar to a Facebook group page that you can share resources, you can chat with others on the theme, connect with others, and really build that network. Under resources, you'll see that most of the groups anybody can post resources in the group. If the group leads deem that it might be suitable for a certain folder, such as this group has meeting recordings and interagency meeting minutes, they will put it in a folder. All resources will show in the main resources page, and then if you click on the folder, it will show the resources that are specifically tailored to that folder, such as this one. In this case, it's the recordings. Yeah. So the group leads will monitor those folders. Events, they'll have their upcoming events calendar. If you want to come join an event, I'll open up this one. This is our upcoming Immigrant Senior Sector Connections Interagency meeting. You're welcome to join us, actually, Canada folks. This group, you're welcome to join us if you would like. It is a touch more Alberta focused, but we are looking at immigrant senior sector connectors across Canada. So you're welcome to join us here in a week or two. So you'll see the event pop up. You'll see the information for it. If you further click on the event, the register button will pop up and you can be connected to the Zoom registration link. So depending which platform you're on, it will always show in the time zone of that platform. So I am on the Alberta platform, so it's showing in the Mountain Time, but if I switch over to BC platform, it'll show in Pacific. So pay attention to the time zones posted. Often you'll see if an event is posted, maybe it's hosted in Ontario, we will also have local time zones posted there. Okay. Members will show you the breakdown of who the admins are for this group and then who are the general members. And if any of these members, if you see them and you would like to send them a message, you could, if you want to send them a direct message, you can open up their contact. For example, this is my provincial social prescribing manager here at Healthy Aging Alberta. Laura talked about their social prescribing theme funding streams, and I actually didn't have a nice little slide like hers, but we also have 10 funded locations for social prescribing. Anyway, this is Beth, our social prescribing manager for Alberta, and I can send her a direct message in the platform right here, and that will show up in the message area like I showed you earlier. So if you wanted to DM somebody directly in the platform, you have that opportunity. And then notification settings, some groups tend to be more active than others. So if the notifications are getting too much for you, you can just go to the notification settings and you can turn off the notifications if it's just having too many emails to your group. Not all groups are as active as others, so it really depends on the group. Some of them definitely are quite active and some of them are more of a relaxed place to network and connect. Okay, I'll jump back to the groups here. Oh, and you'll see under the groups tab, so there's all the groups and then there's my groups. If I click on my groups, because I'm only part of that one, it only shows me the one that's relevant to me. So it'll show whichever ones you've joined. If I go back to all groups, you'll notice that sometimes when you see the groups, you'll notice there might be a locked group here. So these ones are closed groups. So they might be a community of practice that is specifically working on targeted items, and this is the space that they've chosen to collaborate. So in this example, like I said, our social prescribing funded project group has 10 different locations. So we have a closed group for those 10 different locations of folks to connect and collaborate. So that's why it's a closed group. It's set specifically for the 10 locations to share their information. And when a request goes through, if somebody does request for a closed group, the moderators, the admins will decide whether or not that person is suitable for the group. So you can always, if you're not 100% sure, you can always submit a request, but then they will determine on the back end if you are accepted or denied for that group, depending on what their targets are. I do have this Alberta age-friendly community practice. This one is a bit more flexible. So Carol still moderates it, but it is slightly less of a rigid entry structure for this group. Yeah, so there's a group. So on the Alberta platform, we currently have 17 groups working on different topics and events. And some of them will share monthly events, some of them will share quarterly events. It depends on the group and how frequent. The other platforms as well have, I can't quote the numbers offhand, but they have their a variety of different groups in them. Okay. Now, funding opportunities. So by no means is this a comprehensive list, but when funding opportunities come across our plate, Laura, Ravi, and myself will post them into the platforms. You'll notice too that we try to keep the formatting specific to maybe who it's applicable to. So on the Alberta platform, if it's, for example, this one was just an Alberta-based funding, so I put Alberta, and this one was specifically for Southern Alberta, so I put Southern Alberta. This one was Canada-wide, so we put that so that if other folks were looking at this and they're coming in from another province, then they know this one is suitable and this one's suitable for them. So if you do post your own, if you come across a funding opportunity and you do want to post it, just make sure that you are specific about where in the country that funding opportunity is suitable for. Also, what we tend to do for formatting, you'll notice if I click on one of them, so if we open one of the funding opportunities, you'll see usually we give a little synopsis of the funding opportunity, and then we link to the main page so you can really look at the deeper application. Often what we'll do is we'll put the upcoming dates here in the title so you can see what opportunities might be coming up soon to know if you want to plan for that opportunity. And yeah, so we'll do a little synopsis and it'll have the dates there. So again, by no means is it a comprehensive list, but it's a nice one to if you need to find a little bit of funding and you might hear about some opportunities that you haven't heard about. For example, I can also search by a different, for example, if I am an Indigenous provider and I want to look at ones that are specifically for Indigenous communities, I can click on that and apply, and it will filter the ones that are available right now that I could apply for funding. So there's some filters that you can try looking for. These will be determined by whoever makes the post. So depending who posted it, they may or may not have clicked off the buttons. So while it is good to do a quick search, it doesn't mean it's always captured. So sometimes it's still helpful to see what's coming up just to make sure you didn't miss anything. The other way to search is I could, for example, if I want to see what's coming up in May, because I need a bit of money and I want to see what deadlines are coming up, I can type here. And here's all the ones that will be coming up in May. So there's a few here that I can look at that are coming up in the near future. All three sites have newsletters that are coming out on a bi-weekly basis, and we do feature some of the upcoming granting initiatives that are coming up in our newsletters. Just so you know what's coming on the horizon, and you can check here at any time. Okay. And then featured programs and initiatives. So under this bubble, network partners and organizations, we have featured programs and initiatives. So this is any folks that decide to post their program that they have going on. It will pop up on this page. So if you're a community-based senior serving organization and you would like to post your program, you can post it under programs. So for example, Calgary Immigrant Women's Association has a Grandma's Kitchen. So if I click on that, I can see the details about this, and I can also see their contact information and a hyperlink to their page. So that gives me a bit of information about this. When you make a post, Laura's going to talk more about making a post, but when you make a post about your program, at any time, you'll see, if you made that post, you'll see an edit button at the top here. In my non-admin profile, so I don't have ability to edit this because I did not post this as a regular user. But if I had posted this as a regular user, I will have the option to edit the post at any time. And that will allow me to update the information if dates have changed or locations have changed. As Laura mentioned, the site is catered to community-based senior serving organizations, service providers supporting older adults, and allied system partners. So while the platform is not specific to older adults directly, we do have these programs here that if you are trying to make referrals, you can see some of the different programs available so that you can maybe make a referral. And you'll see when Laura's talking about posting, those two places I just talked about, funding and program, they'll be in the posting options. So she'll talk about that in a moment. The last thing I'm going to talk about is it's not under network partners organizations yet. We are going to add it shortly here, but Alberta is currently working on an updated systems map. So right now our systems map is living down here. So this is our systems map. This is our current systems map. If you're from Alberta, you can please, and you want to be on the systems map, you can fill out our form and we will add you to the new platform that's coming out. And when that is live, it will be nestled here or accessible up top here. But otherwise, we talk a little bit about the systems map, and we have the existing systems map linked to here. Okay, so here's our existing systems map. And you can see it'll take you to our map platform. And this is the older iteration that it has a bunch of the different Alberta older adult serving partners and allied systems partners and community-based senior serving organizations. So you can see that this is our old one. Our new one will look more like a Google map, and you'll be able to see across. So if you are an Alberta service provider, please make sure to check out that systems map page. And if you haven't messaged us yet about it, please do. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to stop my sharing and I'm going to switch it over to Laura, who's going to talk about the next sections.
All right, great. Thanks so much for that very thorough introduction, Stephanie. And so I'll just share my screen so I can show the other components of the core website. Okay, so here you can see now we're on Core BC, and the website obviously looks pretty much identical to Core Alberta, and Core Canada looks pretty much identical as well. So pretty much everything that you've heard so far from Stephanie would be applicable to Core BC and Core Canada as well, except for those unique features or initiatives that she identified that are specific to Alberta. So I'm going to talk now about our resources tab. So if you go to resources, this is one of my favorite tabs on the website because it compiles a wide variety of different resources on topics that would be of interest to the CBSS sector. So you can see here, for example, we've got things like information and a media package for people who want to promote National Caregiver Awareness Month. There's a report on national nonprofits, report on volunteering from Statistics Canada, and then there's podcasts, other resources, lots of different items. Of course, with lots of information, the challenge then becomes finding what you want. So we have this handy filter bar up here at the top for when you're searching for information. And so you can use a keyword if you want to search for something. So for example, if I type in housing, oh, spelled it wrong. There we go. You can apply and then it will look for things that are specifically related to housing. And then you can also filter further. So for example, you can pick a category. So there's different types of resources available. You might want something that's maybe research evidence, and you could filter by that. You can filter by subject, and so subject would be things like different topics. So you could use the housing filter if you want. You can filter by audience, so there might be documents that are geared more towards academics or funders or government or health authorities. And then there's also resource types. So we have a variety of different types of resources. So for example, there's different documents and reports. We have things that might be multimedia, videos, websites. There's a lot of different types. You can filter by that. And then you can also search specifically for recorded webinars. So for example, I've used all these filters now, and you can see that we only have webinars showing up then. So that can be useful to help you find the specific information that you're looking for. As mentioned by Stephanie, the tags that are used are put in place by the person who posts them. So you might sometimes have somebody who's posted something and they've tagged it as housing, but that might not necessarily be the main topic. So depending on how people have tagged things, different things will show up for your searches. But this is a very useful feature in order to help you get through the many, many thousands of resources that we have on the website and find more specific things that you're looking for. Now, we also have a training and events calendar on the website. And so this is very useful if you're looking for opportunities like webinars, trainings, or conferences. Some of the opportunities that are shared here might be free. Most of them are, but there are sometimes opportunities that do require a fee. So for example, for a conference, normally there would be a fee involved with that. And so you can see the calendar here and see, for example, today we have our Core 101 webinar listed here. And then if you wanted to register for it or find out more information, you could just click on it, and then it would take you to a page that tells you about that opportunity. We also have some other items over here. So for example, there's an intergenerational training that's coming up on April 17th. And so if we wanted to view that, we just click on it. And then there's information about this opportunity, the fact that it's free, who's offering it, information about the time and date. And as mentioned previously by Stephanie, it's important to look at the time, as sometimes the training opportunities are from other time zones. So you just want to make sure that you're getting the right time for your calendar. And then if you were interested in this opportunity, if you click the register button, it'll take you to the training or events page where you can find out more information and then register if you like. And for the training and events, you can do a search as well if you want to search for keywords or if you want to look at a different month. There's also a different way that you can view the trainings. Currently, we're viewing it by calendar, but you can change that to a list if you don't like looking at the calendar. And then when you see the opportunities, they're listed like this. And then once again, if you want more information about any specific opportunity, you can click on it and then you can decide whether you want to register for it or not. And then the final tab that we have is our news tab. And so this is where you have an opportunity to post things like news stories or press releases or other recent information that doesn't fit with that resource category. So for example, there's a news story here about a recent article about reducing alcohol consumption for older adults. There's also some other news stories here. This also can be a place where you might want to post opportunities. If there's an opportunity that doesn't really fit as a resource or a training event, it could be posted as a news story. So for example, this is a survey that in BC they were seeking participants for about organizations and their readiness to support social and physical health of older adults. So in that case, it was posted as a news story, and you can see the details about this opportunity here. And then also the links, and the opportunity to fill it out has passed, but just wanted to highlight that for the news. This also can be used to post more timely opportunities that don't fit with funding, training, or resources. Okay, and so now I'm actually going to show how we can post a resource. Here I want to go move that toolbar down. Sorry. Okay, so here, if we want to post a resource, what we do is we click this plus button here, And then you can choose what type of resource you want to post. And so for the example that I'm going to provide, I'm going to show how you post news. So you would click on that new news button. And then once you do, this form would pop out where you can fill out the information about what you want to post. And so you can post a variety of different things. You can post news, you can post resources, funding, events, and opportunities. And depending on what you decide to post, the information that you'll need to provide might be a little bit different, but overall, they pretty much all have a very similar format. So for example, here, if I want to post a news story, you would need to identify what website you want to post it on. So in this case, Core BC. You provide a title for the news story. So I've decided to post a news story from yesterday about the fact that the safer rental subsidy for seniors is actually being increased in BC. So I've put the title here of this post. You need to put the author of the news story. So the author wouldn't be yourself unless you wrote the news story yourself. So in this case, the news story is coming from BC Gov News. And then you need to provide a source for the story, and that would be the website or link to the news story itself. If you want to provide a location, you can if that's relevant. So if it was a local news story about a community, you might provide location. And then also there's room for a summary if you want to provide that. And then you need to provide a brief description of the news story. So in this case, I've decided to provide just the first line of the news story and then read the full release here. You can make the description as long or short as you want. And this is where you want to give people an idea of what they can find in the news story. So they'll be interested in viewing it. You can also provide a cover photo. So for example, you might
Laura,
find, oh yes, go ahead.
a note before you jump down. Can you go back to the description, the text box there? So to put the hyperlink into the full release there, you'll see your toolbar has the hyperlink option there. So you'll have option for adding pictures, hyperlinks, and formatting your text. So if you wanted to do any of that in the paragraph, that's where you would do it.
Yeah, thank you for that note, Stephanie. All right, and then you can add a cover photo for the news story or the item that you're sharing if you like. So often that might be just the logo of the organization, or perhaps you include a screenshot of what the item is or something else that would be related to it. You don't have to provide a photo, but I find if people are scrolling through the different resources or news stories and it's just kind of a blank gray square, it probably isn't quite as appealing. So I'd encourage you to put a photo there. And then once you put the image in, there'll be this alternative text box. And so this alternative text box is actually for accessibility purposes. So if a person is visually impaired, then when they access the post, they're going to be able to see this description and it'll be read out to them in terms of what the visual was. So it automatically normally fills in that just the title of the post. But in this case, you can put in your own description if you'd like. So I can put in that it's a image of the British Columbia News logo. And so then you can put in whatever description you like there, but that's a nice feature in terms of making the post more accessible to more people. And then if you want, you can check off who the audience of the post would be. And so, for example, here I've checked off government and service providers. You can pick a subject area and you can select as many as you like. In this case, I've suggested housing. And then you can also pick a category as well if there's one that fits. In this case, I've decided I'm not going to do a category, so I'm not going to check off anything. And you can check off as many or as few boxes as are appropriate for your item that you're sharing. And so then once you've done that, you'll have an opportunity to submit. So I've just got to move this so I can see the submission budget. So you click save. Oh, let's see, did it work? Doesn't seem to be saving right now, but normally it might have been that I had the window open for too long and it's timed out. But normally what happens is you click save and then it will be saved. But the post does normally need to be approved by a core admin in order to be posted on the website. And
Is
then
it red flagging any of the boxes, Laura?
no, I don't see any.
Maybe try putting in the location and summary and see if that helps. Those aren't mandatory though.
Let's see, summary, safer. Yes, as Stephanie mentioned, sometimes if it won't save, it could be because you filled out the form incorrectly and there's certain things that might be missing. We'll see if that helps. Nope. So I think it's timed out
Not
because I've
today.
had the window unfortunately open for too long. But normally it would save and then you have the post that you've made and you can go back, as Stephanie mentioned, and edit the post later on if you need to. And also, if you want to add other types of resources, you can click on one of these other options and, for example, add a new funding opportunity or training or resource.
This is where you can also see posts another way to see posts that you've put up in the past. I don't know if Laura has any posts up in her side window here, but if you click on any of those news, discussions, resources, trainings, you'll see the list of your posts. And if they've been approved, they'll be white. And if they're blue, they're waiting for Laura and I to approve them for you.
All right, great. In that case, that's shown how to do a post. And as I mentioned previously, for things like funding or training or events, you can post as well, and it'll be a very similar process, but there might be some slightly different questions. So for example, for the training, you would need to probably put in some dates for when the training's occurring and some other information. But overall, the process and the information that you need to provide is the same. All right, in that case, we've shared all of the features of the core website. So I'm going to stop my share and then we're just going to continue on with a few more items.
Mm-hmm. Oh, something that we didn't mention just because the post didn't work. So once it pops up in that side window that she showed, the little news tab on the left there, you'll see the line item. She was posting on Core BC, but if she felt this news article was also suitable for Core National, what would happen is in that side panel, there would be her line that she had just posted and then a copy button. And then she could copy that and click Core National to cross-post it to Core National. So if you're a member of Core BC, when you sign up for membership, you'll get an option to sign up for Core National. And if you're a member of Core Alberta, you can sign up for Core National. It's harder to post between Alberta and BC, but you can post between the provincial and the national. So if it was like a funding opportunity that you want to post in both, for example, the Alberta or BC platform, as well as the national platform, because you felt it would be good in both places, there's a copy button, so you don't need to actually redo all of that content. You just hit the copy and click the different platform and it's all ready to go. Then hit save. And you'll see then both of your posts show up for us to approve on our end. Approval usually on our end just consists of us going through the information, making sure you haven't missed anything. It looks okay and formatted. Somebody isn't spamming the site, things like that. So usually your post will be approved within about a day or so. Once we have a chance to look it over, make sure everything's good and shiny and get it loaded for you. Okay, I am going to go back to my platform. Okay, so back to our page here. So somebody did ask in the chat what the reach of these. So the core platforms have been around for 4 years now, actually. Our birthday will be happening here, May 1st of 2024 is when our birthday is happening. So in that 4 years, it was rolled out as we were going to have a longer rollout, but then because of the COVID pandemic, we actually had a quite fast rollout there in May of 2020. But we've been around for 4 years now, and it's a great way to share resources. On the Core Alberta site, as of this month, we are at 1,800 members, close to 1,900 members. But that we have more than that of users, because like we mentioned, you don't have to be a member to use the site. So there's a lot more users than there is members. You do need to have membership to post content and to join a group. Usually there's about over 4,000 pieces of content on Core. We get quite a few monthly visits. So there's my 4,000 site visits in November. My platform currently has 1,700 newsletter subscribers, and we have 17 working core groups. We will have a few more core groups popping up here in the next month or two, but we are at 17 core groups collaborating and sharing content on key issues. Now, on the British Columbia platform, we currently have 1,690 members, and those are statistics as of December. And similar numbers for the newsletter subscribers. So we have about 1,600 newsletter subscribers on that newsletter. And we host a variety of webinars on those sites. So you'll see in the events calendar, folks can post the events and trainings they have for the community-based senior serving sector, but then we will also host events and webinars coming from Healthy Aging Alberta and United Way British Columbia. So within there, you'll see we'll have group events, we'll have webinars. And when we post content, when we host webinars, we'll also typically do the recordings after, which Laura will, or post the recordings after, which Laura will share. Okay. And I am just going to talk a bit about myself. So here I am. Here's my face. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I am the engagement and communication specialist for Healthy Aging Alberta. So I support and manage the core groups, content and email communications on the back end. So if you have any issues with Core Alberta, I can help sort those out. And if you're interested in starting a new group or you're trying to post content, I am your contact. I also provide technical guidance and navigation to the members to help navigate this platform. And then my role also supports external Healthy Aging Alberta communications. So other communications coming from the Healthy Aging Alberta initiative, you'll see actually are within my role profile. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Laura.
All right, and then for the Core BC team, we have myself who helps with the newsletter and some of the website functions, but really the person who does the bulk of the day-to-day work is our project assistant, Ravi Gruwal. And so if you have any questions or need assistance with the website, he'd be the one who would be responding to those sorts of inquiries.
And Ravi was lurking quietly in this room for a little while.
All right, and then in addition to the Core BC, Alberta, and Canada platforms, we actually do have some YouTube channels as well. So Healthy Aging Alberta has their YouTube channel where they share their recorded webinars or events or other videos that they've created for the CBSS sector. And you can view those individual videos. And then they also have playlists where they've organized them based on the topic or the group they're associated with. So most of these videos and resources you're going to be able to find, of course, on the Core Alberta website. And then when you click on them, it'll bring you to the YouTube channel. But if you ever want to, you can also just visit the YouTube channel and browse through it and see what sort of videos and webinars and other resources they have there. And then we also have as well for Core BC, they have a Core BC channel as well. So we've got our recorded webinars and other events there as well. So both of these are linked to the core platforms, so you can view the webinars there and find the links there, but you can also go to the YouTube channels if you want to browse and look for different videos. And then we also have bi-monthly newsletters as well for core Alberta, BC, and national. And the newsletters really are a great way to keep up to date with core content, because of course we know not everyone's going to have time to be going to the website once a week and just browsing through the information. So really the newsletters are a great way for us to highlight new content on core that would be of interest to the sector. And then also share important announcements, because these are the newsletters that are being used to communicate the work that Healthy Aging Alberta and the Healthy Aging team in BC are doing with the CBSS sector. So we'll often have important announcements about things like funding opportunities, consultations, the provincial summits, and other things like that. So that's really the best way to stay connected with what's going on in the community-based senior services sector. And so we would encourage you then to sign up for the newsletters, and you can sign up for them on the core web pages. So there's a place where you can sign up for the newsletters there, and then you'll receive that in your inbox twice a month. So we'd encourage you to sign up for the newsletter as well, and you won't automatically be signed up when you join the website. So you've got to sign up for the newsletter separately. All right, in that case, we're at the end of the presentation then, and we would love to take any questions that you might have about the core websites.
Mm-hmm. And before I stop screen sharing, I am going to share the last slide here, just before we jump into questions, that we will put a survey in the chat here. And you can contact us if you have any questions about this, info@healthyagingalberta.ca or canada@healthyagingcore.ca. But if you click on contact within the sites, those also link to these emails. So you don't need to save these emails necessarily anywhere, because if you click contact in any of the 3 platforms, it will link to myself, Laura, and Ravi, and we'll be able to get back to you on those issues. All right, so yes, let's jump into the questions. So there was a question about how widely known is this platform. We have been around for 4 years now. It was going to be a longer 2020 rollout, but then because of the pandemic, it had a very quick 6-week rollout instead of 6 months like originally planned. So we've been around since about then. As far as widely known, more of the community-based senior serving sector across Canada is being aware of the platform as a resource, and we're still growing daily. So it's getting bigger.
Yeah, and then Core BC has been around for a couple years before Core Alberta, and I'd say it's pretty widely known by the community-based senior services sector, because that is the place where people go to get information about healthy aging funding or initiatives, provincial consultations, and that sort of thing. And then, of course, we are hoping to expand the awareness of the site among other allied supporters or people who might not be as keyed into the CBSS sector, but would be interested in receiving the information or the activities that we're offering. So I think there's pretty good awareness in BC, but of course there's always new people who are coming and going in the CBSS sector. So we're always trying to continue to create awareness about the site.
Yes, Healthy Aging Alberta, we developed our initiative based on the BC model here. So we are younger than BC, who is more like our older sister here. And there is opportunity for growth of this platform across other provinces. So if anybody's tuning in from a province not represented, and at any time you would like to build out a local initiative, you can connect with us too. And we could talk more about what that would look like to build out a platform for Saskatchewan or Manitoba or other, if folks want to be hosting companies. There was a fee. Is there membership criteria? How much is membership is free? You do not need to pay to be a member. It is completely free. The criteria, ideally, the members are folks that are in the community-based senior serving sector and systems allies. The platform is really dedicated to folks serving older adults as opposed to older adults themselves. So we typically don't always encourage older adults to sign up for the membership just because it's not as applicable to them. It doesn't mean folks can't sign up for memberships if they're an older adult, especially if they're working in the sector as a volunteer or advisory. But it is geared more to folks serving older adults. Yeah. It's not clear to me, are the viewers, users, members, are the people who are aging, or are they organizations who provide services to those people? It's the latter of those, the organizations who provide services to those people. So when you go into the events calendar, you'll notice that it's not about programs. You're not going to have something like Grandma's Kitchen pop up in the events calendar because that's not the type of events we're sharing. It's going to be trainings for sector folks, organization folks who want to build their capacity. So you'll notice capacity building trainings such as learning how to set up a governance model for your organization, or maybe something about systems mapping or strategic planning, or maybe it's one about the state of the sector or caregiving, supporting caregivers. So it's really, the content posted in events is really catered to the folks serving older adults. And the proper place for posting a program, if you're trying to promote your program for older adults, is actually in the programs area and not the events area. Hopefully that clears that up. Does that kind of give a good distinction? Yes, I'm getting a nod. Okay, good. I think that was the last question. Is anybody else confused about any additional items? You can verbally say, you can take your microphone off, or you could type in the chat. It's up to you.
Stephanie, can you talk a bit about this call for members for the new committee that is being introduced?
The Community Leadership Council?
Yes.
Yes, I will actually allow Ravi and Laura to talk about that one since they are posting that call out right now.
Oh, yes. So that was a call out from HelpAge Canada to establish a national CBSS interim leadership council. And so that's not being managed by us, but it is related because they're working closely to develop the CBSS sector at a national level. And so in that case, if you're interested in finding more information, you can find they do have a call out package with details about what the position would entail and how you can apply. So I can share that information with you in the chat.
Thank you.
I'm also going to share in the chat. So as Laura mentioned, and I mentioned a bit, with our respective organizations, our priorities are to connect and build the sector and allow these collaboration opportunities for building the sector. So we do have the National Summit happening here in June. Registration has closed for that one, but that is happening. Some of you might already be attending. The BC Summit will be happening in November this year, right, Laura? And then Alberta will be October next year. So BC and Alberta try to alternate on our provincial summit here so that you can have the opportunity to go to a provincial summit every year if possible. So we're both running biannually. But Alberta is currently, so any of the folks that are still in this room that are coming from Alberta, I'm just tossing our Alberta regional gatherings in there. So if you haven't signed up yet, we will have some local collaboration opportunities for Alberta folks right now. Oh, and yes, the BC Summit on Aging will be November 5th to 7th, 2024. So that will be posted on all of the core platforms closer to the time once we start promoting the registration for that. So you won't have to necessarily just follow BC platform to get that. We'll run that across all three, and you'll see that featured heavily in the newsletters as well leading up to the registration there. curious about whether any of the information is curated, vetted for evidence backing, etc. If any member is able to post as they see fit. We don't necessarily do any vetting or of that information. On our side, when we go to approve, we make sure that it's not unrelated content or spam or something extremely political. There's a few different things there to maintain the quality of the site. As far as actually vetting research, if it's a research paper, we are not necessarily doing that vetting on our end. So that would be the person posting who would hopefully ensure that they're posting reliable information on the site. Laura, do you want to say anything in addition to that?
I think that covers it, that there's that admin process. And of course, if it did look like a sketchy item, then we might follow up about it. But as Stephanie mentioned, we don't have the capacity if people are posting external resources to like read every 50-page report that's being posted. So we do have a look to see, get a sense of what the content is, make sure it's not, for example, like Stephanie said, inappropriate political information or like self-promotion or other things like that. But mostly it's just being done on the honor system and the assumption that what people will be sharing is going to be something useful.
Yeah.
We do every once in a while, at least on Core BC, we've done in the past kind of like culling information. So sometimes there might be old information or posts that aren't relevant any longer, or perhaps some of the information's out to date or not as useful. And so we'll go back and sometimes get rid of those older posts to keep that, to make sure the content's still fresh and up to date.
Yeah, we'll do that often, a lot. Sometimes if funding opportunities were only a year as opposed to ongoing, we'll go back and pull those, or we'll update them to have the new dates. We pulled a whole bunch of the COVID content, of course, for obvious reasons, but yeah, we'll try and, when we have time, pull the stale content. The other thing we do for vetting is when you apply for membership, you don't immediately get membership that day. You're not accepted that moment to get in. It comes through us to approve you for member. So that vetting process is similar, that we're ensuring that the folks coming into the site aren't bots or spammers just trying to get access to that, or excessively corporate folks that are maybe just coming in there for self-promotion. So that's why it's valuable when you're setting up a new membership to complete your introduction about yourself, so that we know that you are part of the sector, you're here for good purposes and not nefarious purposes, and then we can approve you swiftly. Anytime we have questions about new members coming in, we will message them and just get a little bit more information about who they are and making sure that they are using the site for the purposes intended. Especially when folks come through on Gmails or Hotmails or personal emails, we'll typically vet those a little bit deeper than if they're coming through on a business profile, an organization profile. Any other questions? No? What we've put a form in the chat, that is our survey. So please fill out the survey. Let us know what you thought about the training. We will be posting this recording up on the YouTube channels here within a few days. So as soon as we have it linked up, we will send out some post emails so that you can look at the recording. We will also link it to the Core Learning Hub so that you can look at the recording later if you would like, and it will be on Core. If you have any questions for us in the future, don't be afraid to reach out. Like I said, you can click contact on any of the pages, and that links to our respective emails, so we can get back to you if you're struggling with things. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. We thank you very much for attending our session.
Yes, thank you everyone for taking the time to join us. we hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.